Hey everyone, what is going on and welcome back to today's video. In today's video we're getting into another episode of the operator guides. We really have like none left. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm pretty sure there's like 5 left after this one, but as you can tell by the title, in today's video we're gonna be going over Tachanka. So this is either gonna do really well or really bad. I feel like it's gonna take two parts of avenue. Sorry, I can't speak. In terms of success of this video, it's either gonna catch really good clout, people are just gonna watch it for a laugh, stuff like that, or it's just gonna flop. But hopefully you guys do enjoy this guide, and if you actually are generally interested in learning about Tachanka, I'm gonna do my best to actually legitimately dive into this and try and like give you good tips for him. But otherwise, it's obviously it's Tachanka. You don't really find him much in ranked situations, but since he's had this buff, he actually does have a lot of skill up his sleeve. I think you just have to utilize it effectively, and you really can probably play him in a ranked setting if you do it right. But he's obviously not the greatest operator, and I'm probably going to get smoked if I say anything negative about him, so I'm not going to do that. But with that said, if you guys do find this video enjoyable, make sure to leave a like, drop a sub notification bell, and also make sure to come check out my Twitch streams. Links in the description down below. I would love to see more people there because I stream there every day, and it's kind of like it's getting to a point where it's kind of like, is it even worth streaming every day? But we'll figure that out later. But with that said though, Tachanka guide, let's get into it. So as always, we're going to start off with the weapon review, then we're going to move on to the gadget utilization and finish off with the operator strategies. So without further ado, let's get into the weapon review. So his primary weapon is obviously the DP27 is what they call it now, but since the update, if for some reason you haven't realized Tachanka's been upgraded, his mounted LMG that he used to have is now his primary weapon, or one of his primary weapons, called the DP27. Does 49 damage on a 550 rounds per minute fire rate. So I'd say that damage is kind of just consistent with a standard LMG, I'm not going to lie. Like that's what I'd feel like it would probably fit into. It has it's obviously is a light machine gun as well, but I'd say those statistics kind of mix in with what you would find on a pretty normal LMG, except for the damage that is pretty high, 49. That's pretty exceptionally high, I'm not gonna lie. It seems up there compared to other LMGs. So obviously, as you know, this was meant to be a mounted turret in a portable form, so obviously it's meant to do a lot of damage. 49, 550 fire rate, 70 round magazine, obviously in that what do you call them, drum mags, I think, that they put around the top there. Yeah, just an all around really, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a solid weapon. Like 49 damage a shot, even if it does have a slower fire rate, most LMGs do though. It still has a high damage count, which can really be effective, and it has a pretty reasonable reflex sight that actually does scope you in pretty well, and gives you a lot of utility that you can utilize off this weapon, which I think is really good. Along with this, it also basically has no recoil, because obviously with the slower fire rate, it makes it kind of a lot easier to control. And that also makes it just a really effective weapon, I think, in terms of just anchoring down a sight, which is what you probably want yourself to do, because with the power and just overall usage that you would find yourself normally using this LMG for, which is what it would fit into as an anchoring role, just everything about it kind of fits it perfectly, from the damage to the fire rate to the magazine to the fire rate, I already said that, to the what's the word I'm trying to think of? Recoil control. It just all fits perfectly, and I think it is definitely it's not a bad loadout whatsoever in terms of having the primary weapon, and obviously it's definitely a major buff from what he used to have. Now his other primary weapon is the 9x19 VSN, which is obviously the Spetsnaz submachine gun. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. 34 damage on 750 rounds per minute. This is more of a well-rounded weapon. This is what you'd find normally in a normal operator, just more of a basic statistic, stuff like that. But the weapon's obviously not bad, but if you don't bring the LMG, are you even playing Tachanka? Like, let's be completely honest, there's absolutely no point picking Tachanka if you're not going to use the DP27. You have access to this incredibly different and fun to use LMG, and you pick the 9x19. I think there's definitely something wrong with you, and you need to you need to reconsider what you're thinking. But it is a good gun, but if you want to use it, go play Capcan. I think that's definitely the best description I can give. Use the DP27 obviously when you're playing Tachanka. It's his trademark. You have to use it. In terms of secondaries, though, he has access to the GSH-18 and the PMM, the two standard Spetsnaz pistols. I've gone over this before in other Spetsnaz videos, but I'll say it again. The GSH is the lower damage, higher capacity gun, so for more people who just want to have a higher capacity in case they might need it. The PMM is the higher damage, lower capacity gun, so obviously 61 damage in the PMM. 44 damage in the GSH-18. I personally prefer the PMM because I think 8 bullets is more than enough for when I whip my pistol out, but if you feel like that's not enough for you, then the GSH-18 is for you with 18 bullets in its magazine. And in terms of gadgets, he has access to the barbed wire and the proximity alarm. Either of these could work with Tachanka because most of the time you'll find yourself anchoring unless you're having a laugh and feel like roaming with Tachanka. I don't know what you guys' plan is, but proximity alarm helps with giving away intel or gathering intel when you're sitting on the site, and barbed wire also does the exact same thing, but it's in its own different way, and it also can be more of a stitch up for pushing through areas. But along with the proximity alarm, they basically both provide the same type of intel that you would want. With that said, that's his weapon review. Let's get into the gadget utilization. Obviously, Tachanka has access to a new gadget since he's been updated. The I don't know how to pronounce this. The Shumika launcher. I think that's what it says. It's SHUMIK HA launcher. So I'm going to call it Shumika. Shumika. There's probably some Russian way of pronouncing it that I can't do. Like, I'm not even going to attempt it, but I'm not going to refer to it as that ever again. I'm just going to call it the launcher. But this is a launcher firing heavy incendiary grenades with a timed fuse activated on the first bounce. So if you don't know what this does already, it's essentially taking what Capitao introduced with his firebolt and putting it into a grenade launcher that can shoot 10 of these incendiary grenades out of it, which obviously just incinerate, I suppose. What they do when they incinerate is they take up a pretty reasonable amount of space and they obviously set it on fire, and if you try to push through this, you're obviously going to catch on fire as an attacker. I'm pretty sure you can maybe sprint through it without killing you, but I think you'd have to be very lucky. I'm not going to lie, it does deal a lot of damage if it directly hits you. So as you heard though, obviously it bounces a first time, and then it activates on a timed fuse after that first bounce. So obviously you can't just spray this at an enemy, it's just going to light them on fire. You have to time a bounce approach to it where it will bounce into the enemy, or you just want to utilize it for watching areas where you want to push against and stuff like that. The main thing I'm talking about here is, say you are at the top of a staircase and you want to push past that staircase into a corridor on the left. You shoot maybe 2 of these at the staircase just to make sure, try and give you a little bit of intel on where someone is, because even if it's not really near them, they might stress out, look around, give away their position, etc. And then you can utilize this to either push through because you know it's clear, or you know they're there, so you can adapt to your rotation, either keep pushing them, just turn around and go the other way. I don't know, but I think this is probably the best utilization you can have for this launcher, is kind of use it to block off entry points and directional paths. I think is the best way. So if you know someone's coming from somewhere, shoot like 1 or 2 of these at a door to stop them from coming through, or at least make it a little bit more difficult for them to come through and provide you with a little bit more intel on the defending side. You can also use this to just completely stitch up any type of hold. If they're sitting somewhere, shoot one of these. It's probably going to mess around with them a little bit, and you have to rotate, move, stuff like that. And just all in all, it's something that you can use to keep people away from obviously the fire. So if you can think about it that way, just try and play with your shots to what I just said, to keep people away from the fire. So if you want someone to stay away from the stairs, shoot the fire on the stairs. If you want someone to stay on a certain side of the stairs, place it well enough so that they can't get up a certain side of the stairs. I don't know, but try and play it to the point where they have no way to really work around this fire, and play it to your game. So make sure they work around what you want them to do, where you want them to be, and you can really manipulate this with these incendiary grenades. And I think that's really what makes it a pretty powerful gadget. And along with the hard-hitting LMG that he has access to in his primary arsenal, he has a lot of power. It's just as an overall, I think it takes a bit of practice to actually utilize him in a competitive level, due to it kind of being a just an all-around the place loadout. But all in all, I still think it's a very effective gadget. I think if you just think about it the way I've just said to you, try and play people to your game, it can be very effective. And now let's get into the operator strategies and wrap up this video. So the operator strategy is obviously where I tell you whether to anchor or roam. I think I've already gone over this, but you obviously want to anchor with Tachanka. He is a 1-speed, 3-armor operator, so that is already a indication that you want to sit on the site with Tachanka. That is his role, that is his job. He has an anchoring loadout. He has something you want to utilize to keep people off the site, as I was saying before, and just effectively taking advantage of this is a smart and effective and strategic way to just keep people off the site, and that's what his gadget does. Having access to this gadget that I was talking about before obviously denies entry points, stuff like that. And then having access to this turret denies them with strong, hard-hitting bullets coming their way that they know they can't really tank, so they have to reconsider their push, etc. And they have to stay away from that rig called Tachanka sitting on the site, scaring them away. So if you play this guy tactically, as I said, he can be a really effective anchor in terms of keeping people away, and this can really come in handy in those really late game situations where you got people planning stuff like that. You can really take advantage of this and just body them. Honestly, that's the best word I can use. Just body them. You can really take advantage of it. I think if you play it really strategically, you can honestly play Tachanka in competitive levels. I don't know about the best of the best, but he does have an ability that can be utilized and had fun with in even plat ranks, I honestly believe. But with that said, I don't think there's really anything else to cover. I think I've covered basically everything in terms of his strategies. There's no really argument that Tachanka is not an anchor. If you roam with Tachanka, you're obviously trolling. If you're doing it in a ranked game, you're probably going to get team killed the next round. But with that said, though, I think that's going to wrap up this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to smash that like button, drop a sub, notification bell, and also make sure to come check out my Twitch streams. Again, I really want them to do better, but I'm happy with what I've got at the moment. But I don't know. I'm trying to push them as best as I can because I do put a lot of time into it, but it's not really anything that really needs to be outlined. Obviously, if you guys like Siege, the stream isn't for you. But if you are interested, links in the description down below. And with that said, I think that's enough from me. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you didn't, also make sure to let me know what I should have included and what I could have done better before you leave. And with that said, I think that's enough from me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Control.